It wasn't always easy, living under the ever-watchful eyes of the media. No matter how many times Taehyung insisted that nothing could come between them, the pressure from outside forces continued to grow. The tabloids began to get bolder, digging into their private lives with an almost obsessive fervor. And while Jungkook had always admired Taehyung's ability to keep calm, even in the most intense moments, there were times when he couldn't help but feel the weight of the world pressing down on him. One evening, after a particularly grueling day of work, Jungkook found himself sitting in their home office, his mind swirling with exhaustion. Taehyung, as usual, was in another room, attending to business, but the distance between them felt vast. His thoughts raced. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this life. Maybe I'll never be able to keep up with the spotlight. Maybe I'm just holding Taehyung back. He barely noticed Taehyung entering the room until he felt a gentle hand on his shoulder. Jungkook. Taehyung's voice was soft, almost hesitant. You've been distant lately. Is everything okay? Jungkook glanced up, his heart tightening at the concern in Taehyung's eyes. I'm fine, he lied, offering a faint smile. Just a little tired. Taehyung didn't buy it. He moved around to Jungkook's side and knelt down in front of him, his fingers gently lifting Jungkook's chin to meet his gaze. You don't need to hide things from me. I know you're struggling. Jungkook swallowed hard, his chest tightening as the floodgates threatened to open. I don't know how to keep doing this, Taehyung. The press, the constant attention. I feel like I'm suffocating. Taehyung's gaze softened, his thumb gently brushing against Jungkook's cheek. I know it's hard. I feel the pressure too. But you're not in this alone. You never were. You've never been holding me back, Jungkook. If anything, you're the reason I keep moving forward. Tears welled in Jungkook's eyes, and for a moment, he didn't know what to say. Taehyung had always been there, his unwavering support a constant source of comfort, but he couldn't shake the feeling that he was a burden to the man he loved. But Taehyung wasn't done. He stood and gently pulled Jungkook into his arms, holding him tight. Listen to me, he whispered against his hair. No matter what happens, you are my everything. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to carry the weight of the world. You're enough, just as you are. Jungkook clung to him, his breath shaky. I just don't want to disappoint you. Taehyung pulled back slightly to look him in the eye, his expression fierce with love. You could never disappoint me. You are my heart, Jungkook. And I'll protect that heart with everything I have. So don't ever think you're in this alone. Days turned into weeks, and while the world outside still buzzed with rumors, inside their home, things began to feel more grounded. Taehyung, ever patient, kept a careful eye on Jungkook, noticing the subtle changes in his mood and how he reacted to the ever-present media coverage. Jungkook still had his moments of doubt, but Taehyung made it clear that, as long as they were together, there was nothing they couldn't face. One night, after an especially grueling day at a high-profile event, the couple retreated to their bedroom, the weight of their roles still hanging in the air. Jungkook flopped down on the bed, burying his face in the pillows. You need to stop doing that, Taehyung chided lightly, walking over to the bed and sitting beside him. Jungkook raised his head just enough to send him a tired look. Stop doing what? Stop pretending you're not exhausted. I see right through you. Jungkook's lips twitched into a smile despite himself. You're relentless. Taehyung smiled back, the light in his eyes softening. He brushed a strand of hair from Jungkook's forehead, his fingers lingering there for a moment. I know you think you have to do everything by yourself, but that's not how it works, Jungkook. I don't want to burden you, Jungkook muttered, his voice muffled by the pillow. Taehyung's expression softened, his voice becoming serious. You're not a burden, and you'll never be. You're the love of my life, Jungkook. I don't care if the world thinks we're an odd match or if they don't understand us. You're all I need. Jungkook turned to face him, his heart swelling with a mix of love and guilt. I don't deserve you, Taehyung chuckled softly, the sound warm and tender. You never have to deserve me, Jungkook. I chose you. And I'll always choose you. The weeks that followed became a series of small victories. The public pressure slowly eased as Taehyung's protective nature came to the forefront, and Jungkook began to feel more at ease with their life. He found comfort in knowing that Taehyung had his back, no matter what. They were a team. And slowly, as the noise from the outside world died down, they began to live life on their own terms. They traveled together, shared quiet evenings and learned to embrace both the calm and the chaos of their unique situation. One evening, as they sat on the balcony of their home, watching the sunset in silence, Jungkook spoke up, his voice low and contemplative. Taehyung, he began, I think I'm starting to get it. It's not about the money, or the fame, or the world watching us. It's about us. Just us. Taehyung smiled, his hand reaching out to take Jungkook's. Exactly. As long as we're together, nothing else matters. Jungkook squeezed his hand, feeling the truth in those words settle into his heart. Together, always, and for the first time in a long while, Jungkook felt truly at peace. With Taehyung by his side, he knew they could face anything, together. Life had returned to a gentle rhythm, but just as Jungkook had begun to feel the weight of their world lift, another storm was brewing on the horizon. Taehyung's company had been under scrutiny for months, and while they tried to maintain a facade of calm, the cracks were beginning to show. One evening, as the couple sat down for dinner, Taehyung's phone buzzed incessantly on the table, drawing his attention away from their conversation. Jungkook noticed the tension in his husband's posture as Taehyung picked up the phone, his usually warm expression turning cold as he read the message. Taehyung, Jungkook asked softly, his voice filled with concern. Just a minute, Taehyung muttered, his eyes scanning the message. He pushed the phone aside, but Jungkook could see the storm gathering behind his husband's eyes. I can feel the tension in the air, Jungkook said gently. What's going on? Taehyung hesitated before finally meeting Jungkook's gaze. There's been a leak. Some of my company's financials were made public, and they're not good. His tone was clipped, his usual calm demeanor slipping for just a moment. Jungkook's heart sank. He had known that Taehyung's wealth and company came with complications, but seeing the strain on his face made it all too real. Is it serious? Taehyung nodded. I'm going to have to deal with this. The board is already panicking, and I can't afford for this to spiral. His voice was firm, but Jungkook could hear the weariness in his words. Jungkook reached across the table, gently grasping Taehyung's hand. You don't have to do this alone. Taehyung looked at him, his expression softening just a little. You already helped me more than you realize, Jungkook. Just by being here, over the next few days, Taehyung became consumed with managing the crisis. Meetings, phone calls, and long hours at his office left little room for anything else. Jungkook watched him from a distance, his heart aching as he saw his husband's usual carefree nature replaced with exhaustion and stress. Jungkook had always known that being married to Taehyung meant navigating the complicated world of high-stakes business and public scrutiny. But this felt different. He could see the pressure was getting to Taehyung, and he didn't know how to help him. One evening, Taehyung returned late, his shoulders slumped and his eyes heavy with fatigue. As soon as he stepped through the door, Jungkook rose from the couch, his concern immediate. "You look exhausted," Jungkook said, his voice soft but firm. "Come sit down. I'll make us some tea." Taehyung smiled weakly, grateful for the small gesture. "Thanks, Jungkook," he muttered, his voice rough. As Taehyung sat down, Jungkook prepared their usual tea, taking extra care to add the honey and lemon Taehyung loved. When he returned to the living room, he placed the tea in front of Taehyung and sat beside him, their shoulders brushing. "You've been working non-stop," Jungkook said softly. "I'm worried about you." Taehyung took a deep breath, his hand gently wrapping around the warm cup. "I know. I've just got to fix this. There's no other choice. You can't do everything on your own," Jungkook whispered, turning to face him. "Let me help. Let me in, Taehyung." "I hate seeing you like this." Taehyung's eyes softened as he looked at Jungkook, his expression vulnerable. "I don't want you to get caught up in this. It's too much, and I don't want to drag you into my mess." Jungkook shook his head, his voice firm but gentle. "You're not dragging me into anything. We're in this together. Always." For a moment, Taehyung was silent, his gaze fixed on Jungkook as if trying to decide whether or not to let him in. Finally, he let out a long, shaky breath. "I don't know what I'd do without you." "Then don't find out," Jungkook replied, his voice unwavering. "You've always been there for me. It's my turn to be there for you."